everyone. What a wonderful way to spend Mother's Day. We've had all the flowers and the presents, and then I just decided that I wanted to show you all the versatility of the eggplant. You see I have a lovely pile of eggplant here. I purchased it deliberately because I want to show you 3 different recipes. So we're going to do eggplant parmesan, we're going to do stuffed eggplant, and then we're just going to do a medley of eggplant with vegetables that you can eat as a side dish on nice fresh bread, different with potatoes. We'll show you it all. So first of all, when picking your eggplant, and it came to me the other day that many people have never tasted the eggplant. I can't even imagine. It's always been part of our lives. When the season is right, my mother used to buy bushels, and then we would divide it into the different ways. Some of it got frozen, some of it got pickled. That'll be another show. And it's just a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. A pickled eggplant on a charcuterie board is just a must. A stuffed eggplant is not as commonly seen online as the eggplant parmesan. You're going to find very different recipes for eggplant parmesan, but you're not going to find a lot of stuffed. If you do find them, it might be really in Italian, and so the translation sometimes isn't quite. So hopefully this will help you get past the mystery of eggplant. It'll also get you to the point where you love it as much as I do. So we're going to start with cutting up the eggplant for stuffed. So I'm starting with, and when you're purchasing, you'll notice there's always a sticker for most of the time, unless you're buying bushels. There's the sticker, get rid of that. Cut off the stem. And see how white that is? That's what you want. So you try to pick as blemish free and as firm as you can eggplant. Really hard sometimes when you're just new at it. Did you see how I cut it in 4? I like to cut it into the sections it's going to be. This is for stuffed. So if we said in 3, let's go. There's 2 and there you go. That's 1 done, beautiful. And I'm going to tell you as we go along some of the secrets of the eggplant, in that you can do all the work, stuff it, and then freeze it and not fry it right away, because these are going to be fried, but you don't have to fry them right away. You can save it until a later date. And then again, see, I'm doing the same thing over again. Get rid of the stems, that'll go in our compost. Again, at a later date, you would decide whether you wanted to fry them right away, or I like going 4s here. I might even go a little bit smaller because you'll notice, you know what, right up in here, it's kind of thinner, and then here it gets a little thicker, so we can maybe get a couple different sizes of pieces. But I'm quite pleased with the eggplant because they are very lovely, and so let's go into a 5th. Okay, and then 1 more. I'm gonna tell you that my mother, God rest her soul, she would make stuffed eggplant. She might even stuff a couple of tomatoes with the same filling. You have choices. You can make this totally vegetarian, which is what it's going to be for me, other than the fact that I'm putting eggs. But you can also make it with meat. And it's all personal preference. I find that we use so much meat in so many different dishes that it's kind of refreshing not to have meat in this particular dish, so that I can use it on days where we just don't want to eat meat. So that's enough for the stuffed. That's going to go into boiling water, salted boiling water, until the pulp is tender, fork tender, and we can scoop it out, and then I'll show you the next step. So give me a second. It's a rolling boil. I'm going to add some salt. Oh, I've read somewhere where we're measuring by love, not by actual measurements, which is pretty much how I was raised. So I'm just going to plunk these right in there. I'll burn myself. Everything in cooking is hurry up, wait. So we put them in there, and we're going to wait until they're nicely softened. And then I'll show you how to scoop them out. That'll be fun. It's all fun. I have one more over here I wanted to add. Because what if I run out? Can't possibly run out. Okay. Okay, so that's been salted. It's boiling water. I'm going to put a lid on that. And guess what? I'm just going to relax and have a little sip of my tea. That's next. Beautiful. Isn't that lovely? It's really sweet because it's called greenhouse basil. Let's grow together, grown locally from Scriber, Ontario by the students of Scriber Public School. Well, isn't that a wonderful initiative? Getting kids, it's hydroponics, but getting kids involved in the whole process, growing and then continuing on to have you know, the product being sold locally. I think that's fabulous. I think it's just so healthy. In this world that we live in, to find healthy things to do with our kids is wonderful. Okay, so this is my basil that I'm going to use for this. I'm not putting a ton, but a fair amount. And I find if you just kind of roll it together and cut off that stem, I don't want you go over to my combo stuff. Trying to go as small as I can, and then I'm going to give another little bit of a. Did you see how I rolled it? It makes it stick together easier, so it's easier to chop. Basil is a very hard herb to grow. You either have great luck with it or none at all, is my experience. But maybe some of you have better experience, but that's been my experience. So it's going to go in our blue bowl because that's where my stuffing is going to go. From the eggplant. So you take the eggplant, they've been nicely cooled in this colander, and you're gonna just scoop that out like that. Isn't that wonderful? Look at how nice and tender that is. And this is what you're gonna fill afterwards, is the skin. So I put that aside, and I'm gonna repeat. A lot of this, is about repeating. Again, you can choose to put meat in your filling. I do not. I just like this better. You can choose to stuff some tomatoes, which is lovely, but I'm not doing that today for you guys. So I'm gonna just keep pulling all this filling out. And this is all gonna go into my blue bowl with the basil and some breadcrumbs. And again, the measurement is all about love. I can't really say how much to put, but you'll get it once you start getting into it and doing it over and over again like I have. You'll get it. See how that just comes right off? There we go. And just the skin stays and goes in this pile. Sometimes I don't have enough filling for the skin, but that's okay. You've taken most of the goodness out by doing this. There. And they're not big, huge pieces, but it makes for a nice little bite-sized appetizer or side dish. Okay, so once you've scooped it out, I'm just going to show you, just preempt. We chop it as fine as we can. So we've drained it already. Leave those skins away. We need those for later. Flip it, add it. When I went to Italy in 2023, we went and we got to see all, like 90 people in, I think it was a week and a half, 2 weeks. 90 different people we broke bread with, we had their food, and everyone was giving me stuffed eggplants. They didn't realize that we continued our traditions in Canada with that we still make them. So I was able to be almost the tester of their eggplants. I wonder what they would think of mine. That'd be so interesting. Like those little bits. Okay. I'm just gonna go like this, and it's gonna go right in there. There we go. Into this bowl I have my chopped, nicely fine, cooked eggplant, just the inside. You'll see the skins are sitting on the side there. I'm gonna put breadcrumbs, maybe 2 for now. And then I'm gonna put some cheese in there too. Parmesan cheese, that's what we use. And that's gonna be lovely. Non kilo. You want to put enough cheese and breadcrumbs with the filling that will fill most of those skins. So it does look a little excessive, but that's what we do. But you also want to maintain that flavor of the eggplant. So I'm going to put 1 egg for now and get in there with my hands. And then we're just going to see what it feels like. Just breaking up the cheese so it blends nice and nice, and you have that nice basil in there. As you can see, it comes together fairly nicely. I've added a little bit more breadcrumbs, a little bit more parm, and so you have to really feel it out. You can almost use a tiny bit more because it is quite wet. So I didn't lie when I said I make my own breadcrumbs. Isn't that amazing? Okay, I think that might do it because I've got quite a bit of cheese in there too. And then I'm gonna start filling them. And I just use my hands. You can use the ice cream scoop if you wanted to, or a cookie scoop. And I put into the skins of the eggplant, just like a little ball, and then I press it right in there. Now, you could stop and you could freeze them like this. Cook them whenever you feel like it. They're fried usually. I've tried air frying and didn't like it as much, to be honest. But it is lovely when you fry them. But there's not a huge difference if I freeze them. So it's one of those things that you could get away with for a charcuterie board, make them all ahead, like weeks in advance. Put them in a Ziploc bag, nice and tight, and then fry them last second. You can do that with this and you'll see no difference in the quality of the stuffed eggplant. It's beautiful. So there's several different ways to fry these. You can air fry them, we've tried that. You can, again, you don't have to cook them all at once, and we're not going to. You'll notice that I have 4 little lone dogs. They have no skins. So I went overkill. I'm just waiting for my oil to get a little hotter. And I'm gonna cook those first, and then just figure out how much I want to serve for supper. And the rest are gonna go in freezer. Look at how lovely though. See? That's about 4 medium-sized eggplant. You get that much. Beautiful, beautiful. Exciting. Okay, so now we have our 4 eggplant without the skins. Now, I'm gonna tell you a little secret. Always put the filling down. Oil nice and hot, skin down.
Skin up.
Oh, skin up. Filling down. I stand corrected. Because I've tried the other way before and I have not had great success. And sometimes you can pay eggplant quite a lot of money, especially if you get the Italian imported small ones. They're lovely. But it's not lovely if they fall apart, which is what will happen in my experiences when I put them. So you can see these are already starting to get there. I use this little flipper. Look at the brown. Isn't that beautiful? That's what we want. So we're gonna cook it on both sides on these because, we're gonna cook them on both sides for both of them, but these in particular because there is no skin, right? So I'm just gonna let these get nice and brown. In the meantime, I'm gonna prep a plate with some paper towel. Beautiful. And you know what? I think that's all we're gonna cook for tonight. And I'm gonna freeze the rest. They'll be surprised one day. They'll go, "Oi, Mom, what are you cooking?" Surprise! Stuffed eggplant, ready to go. None of the work. That's a nice surprise. So, look at how beautiful they are. I'm gonna just give it a little sprinkle of cheese on top, Parmesan cheese. Use lots of it. Isn't that lovely? Okay, so these are ready to eat. Put my lid on my Parmesan. I just wanted to show you. These are what I'm gonna freeze. So again, they'll go on this parchment paper, no problem. Make sure they don't stick to each other. And we're gonna freeze them, and then another day, really nice side dish if you're having anything like a steak and you want a little something extra. If you're having pasta and you want a little something extra, nice little side dish. So again, not an easily available recipe. Melanzane con ripieno, I think is what you might be able to find it with. Our dialect is melanzane, which is Calabrese dialect, or stuffed eggplants, we call them here. Definitely a must try, and don't be scared. And if you need any answers, give me a shout. Another recipe, as I promised you, is eggplant parmesan. Again, this is a recipe that I like to use with no meat at all. It's a really nice alternative to a lasagna without meat. Sometimes I've seen eggplant prepped in the banquet halls, and they're not as appetizing as this is going to be. This hits the mark, and you'll find many different recipes, but this is the one I found worked the best for me. I'm going to slice the eggplants, and I'm cheap by using a slicer because I have one. Why wouldn't I? I'm going to line my pans with parchment paper, add a little bit of olive oil, and then they're going to be baked in the oven. Could you fry these? 100%. Is it healthier this way? I'd like to think so. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to set up our pans, and then we're going to slice our eggplant, and you can follow me as we do it. I probably won't be talking much while I'm doing it. So now we've prepped the eggplant. We have 3 beautiful eggplant. You could use 3 would give you a nice size 13 by 9. I'm assuming a 13 by 9 lasagna, which would be way enough to feed a family. It does freeze very well. I would go through the whole process, and you're going to watch me do that. And then I would probably, if you've made a bigger one, section off to feeds, some to-go containers, then you can have enough for a meal for you and your loved one, or smaller than that, and you'd have a meal for yourself. Add a salad. That's supper. Okay, so now how do we slice our eggplant? I can tell you that you can use mandolins, or you can use a knife and just free bomb it. I prefer, I'm going around the table to my handy dandy slicer. So it was gifted to me by my dad, God rest his soul, and we use it quite often. When people say, should I invest in a slicer? I always say, I use mine lots, and that's all I can say. So this goes like this, and the beauty of this is that each slice is going to come the same thickness, and that's what we really want. And I try to go lengthways. So you've noticed I've already cut off the stem. I've taken off the stamp, give it a bit of a rinse, and now they're ready to go. Let's see here. So see, beautiful thicknesses. Maybe I'll go just a little bit thin, and that's what you can guesstimate by yourself, right? I'm gonna go down to 6. I just like the way the consistency of the slices are. Again, you could use a mandolin, you could use a knife. Don't be intimidated by my machines. If you know me well, you know I'm the kitchen gadget queen. I love all the little toys you can buy, and I buy lots. We all have our vices. Beautiful white eggplant, love it. So got it all sliced up nicely. I like to lay it down on wax paper just because it's clean. And I'm going to salt it ever so gently That'll take out any of the little bit of water that it has. So you watch how professionally I salt. I'm sorry, this is what I do. Just lightly, right? And then I'm gonna flip it all again and do it again. And then I'll show you guys how to bread these bad boys. So much fun. Isn't that fun? It's just fun. Okay, so I got about half a cup of parm in there, maybe a little bit more, 3/4 of a cup. I'm gonna add a sprinkle of black pepper. And I'm going to add some eggs. Here's my parm. It's frozen, so I'm trying to chunk away at it. It's okay, that'll work. I always keep my parm frozen. There. Put aside this eggplant for a future project.
How many usually?
I'm gonna put about 5 or 6. 2. Remember how I measured with love? It's the same thing with the eggs and the Parmesan cheese. I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eggs in there with some Parmesan cheese and some black pepper so far. I'm gonna give it a good whisk, and I think I'm gonna add some, because I have beautiful fresh basil that I got from an initiative that a local public school did. So I was able, they used hydroponics, and I was able to purchase some. I'm quite excited. I'm gonna cut out this last bit. You did a good job, kids. It smells delightful. I just want it like little bits throughout. There, that's gonna taste so good. See how nice it comes, nice and fine when you roll it like that? Beautiful. I just want these lightly breaded. I don't want a thick. Add a little bit of cheese to the, I don't buy Italian breadcrumbs. I make my own breadcrumbs with leftover bread that we have at the house. And then I add my own Parmesan to it and whatever spices I want into the other. It's just the way we've always done it. And I like the flavor better when you do it that way. So these have been sitting here for a little while. We're gonna go dip. See how lovely? Just lightly dip. Again, I don't really want them, I'm not gonna press it in there because I don't want a lot. Down, dip, dip. Shake off the extra egg. Lie it down, sprinkle some of those breadcrumbs on top. And you're saying, what are you gonna do with those now, Kath? Watch. So we got these eggs already done. These eggplant already done. We take our cookie sheet. All of them have been lined with parchment paper. This one just wants to curl, but that's okay, we got this. Okay. And I like to drizzle. Try that, see if it'll stay flat on me. Once I put the eggplant on, it will. So you say, what are you gonna do with the eggplant, Kath? I've got the oven already preheated. I'm gonna take some olive oil. I'm gonna drizzle lightly. Again, just lightly, we don't need lots of olive oil in this. And then these little cutlets, they're almost like eggplant cutlets, are gonna go in there. So you watch me do that for all of these. And I have my cookie sheets already pre-lined, so it should go fairly quickly, especially if I don't talk. Here. Okay, so now you see I've taken the eggplant. This has been cooked for 15 minutes on one side. I'm gonna put it back in. I flipped it, look at how golden it is, but I want that golden to be on the other side. And this is one that didn't get flipped or just has a little bit more breadcrumbs, but it'll be fine, that'll be fine. Okay, that's going back in the oven. Another 10 minutes. Whiter the eggplant, the better it is for all of our eggplant recipes. They've been sliced. You can use a mandolin, you can use a knife. I use the slicer because I have one. And then they've been dipped in egg and cheese and basil, dipped in breadcrumbs with a little bit of cheese, and baked in the oven for about 15 minutes on one side with just a swizzle of olive oil. And then you flip them and do another 10 minutes. So these are cooked enough that we can now form our eggplant parmesan. You have a beautiful lasagna pan. This came from Italy. Yeah, this came from Italy. And we have some sauce, of course. Wouldn't we have sauce ready? We have a light, nice, just a marinara sauce. I'm gonna just take what I can off the lid. Make sure I don't burn myself. This is ready to go. It's beautiful. And again, this is all my homemade tomatoes that you watched me make in a previous showing. And so, it's just so lovely to be able to work with such organic ingredients, right? Are we making it again this year? Darn straight we are. So we have our marinara sauce. I just want a light little bit on the bottom. Okay. These have cooled, so you start with these. Lay them down, nice, nice. I like to put the skin down when I lay it into the lasagna dish. Just do, not sure why. Okay, so that's enough, one layer. Probably gonna get 3 layers out of this. You can go 4, no real rules. Nice thick sauce. I tried to make it thinner, but tomatoes are fresh. A light bit of Parmigiano. And a nice handful of mozzarella. This was 3, I could probably use 4 eggplant for the full lasagna, but it'll be enough. Okay, that's the last of those trays. I'm going to tent this with tin foil, and it's going to go in the oven for an hour for about 350. Let it cool a little bit, and it'll cut beautifully. There's our eggplant parmesan. Isn't that beautiful? It's our last eggplant, so if you want to make anything else other than this dish, you're going to have to go buy more. But we're not going to, because we have our fill. We have an eggplant parmesan in the oven. We have our stuffed eggplant cooked, ready to eat. We've maybe even have tasted them a little bit already, which they are wonderful. They worked. And what do I do with this? This is probably the easiest of recipe of what we have. Yes, my dog is jumping up and down on my lap. He thinks I'm going to have supper, which I'm not. We're not ready yet, Bruno. Anyway, so you cut off the stem the same you would for all of the 3 recipes. Discard that stem. We are going to keep the skin like we did for all 3 recipes. We eat everything. I'll show you how this is going to go. I'll try really hard to be gentle to my hands. This is like a stir-fry eggplant, and you would use it with steak, just straight up with fresh crusty bread. I'm going to show you how to mix it with baby potatoes too. So while this is frying, we're going to fry up a few baby potatoes, and then we're going to amalgamate, and it'll be just lovely. It really is. You could cut these in little pieces. I like them long. Okay, and I'm just going to throw these into the pan. Make sure they all came apart, because sometimes they don't quite. There we go, lovely. That goes there. Oh, that is 1 full eggplant. That maybe looks a little thick. Let me just cut this out a little thinner. Sometimes we get carried away. Okay, so that's a whole eggplant. Hold on. Then we're going to cut open I'm only going to use today, I'm only going to use sweet pepper. Historically, we've always done it very spicy, but I haven't been able to eat so spicy as of late. So this is my way of, I cut off the front, cut off this seed and this seed. Ta-da, it's gone. That goes into the compost. This is beautifully seeded with very minimal effort. Did you see that? Not bad, eh? So then I'm gonna just do strips and then I'm gonna cut it in half again. I don't know if I should use 2. I might use 2. Cut off any of the seeds. We don't want the seeds in there. And I just cut it in half. I think half is enough for me. If you think it should be smaller, you go for it. But for me, I just cut it in half. I'm gonna throw that in there too. You're gonna watch me fry it up. This tomato we're gonna save. We're gonna fry up the eggplant first. I'll show you. I'm not gonna leave you stranded. And I've got like two beefsteak tomatoes, nice and juicy. And I've cut them fairly small because I want them to fry up quickly. Okay, so that's all I need as far as the tomatoes. They're gonna go into this bowl. One. Yeah, it's gonna be lovely. I know it will be. And I want all that juice in there, so I'm gonna just kind of use my cutting board. I love these little cutting boards. Okay. I'm gonna take these potatoes and I'm gonna slice them. While the eggplant is cooking, you'll watch, I'm gonna fry these up and then I'm gonna amalgamate. Yum. Just yum. And these, I just rinsed them. I'm leaving the skin on. Okay, so we got our veggies cut. I'm gonna add some oil. For this one, I'm using regular vegetable oil. Add some salt. Beautiful. I'm gonna take my potatoes as soon as the oil is hot. And I'm gonna fry them in the oil that's separate. And then really drain them well. You don't want that extra oil. Okay, let me see what we got in here. So what do we have? We have a whole eggplant, 2 bell peppers. You could use spicy peppers in there as well, like a bell and a banana or a bell and a jalapeno. It'll give you that bit of bite if you're into the bite. If you're not into the bite, this is the way to go. It's just a shepherd or a bell pepper is what I would use. I've added oil, vegetable oil to fry, and then I've put some just regular salt, and then we're just gonna wait till it starts to sizzle. Okay, so it's starting to sizzle. I have the potatoes cooking and let them cook on their own time. This is sizzling really nicely. Again, the whole eggplant cut up into slivers. Not thin. I like it a little bit thicker, to be honest. What can you use this mixture for? If you keep just with this, without the potato, you can put it on a veal sandwich, yum, pizza, why not? Very versatile. So we have these vegetables, and when these start to wilt, and you'll notice because it shrinks in the dish. When this starts to wilt, then we're gonna add our finely chopped tomatoes. Just a symphony of flavors. Just a symphony of flavors. Put a lid on this, and you'll notice that they're wilting even quicker. Give it a little stir, put the lid back on. Beautiful. Not quite where we want them, but they're getting close. A little bit more salt. You'll notice I keep checking because I want the tomatoes to melt down as well. Yummy, but not cooked. Maybe turn it down just a little bit. So the potatoes are partially cooked. Do you see that? And throw them right in there. But I got rid of all that oil. That's not bad. Come on, get down.
And we're just gonna add, and you can put as much or as little potatoes as you want. Again, even the eggplant mixture by itself is very versatile. We jar it every once in a while and pop open the jar and pour it onto the potatoes. So it's like one-stop shop. Or again, you can use it as just as on your sandwich. It's just yummy. Fresh, crusty bread. Yeah, that'll work. It's almost cooked. So this was a few hours of work for sure. I mean, you got to see the shortened version, and you see that we have our beautiful stuffed eggplant. They're delicious hot out of the pan, and they're equally delicious just at room temperature. We have our beautiful medley of eggplants and peppers, and look at the brown potatoes. What about a little bit on hard bread? That's delicious too. Maybe one day we'll show you how to make that. So that's wonderful. Again, this is a side dish. You can use this in the eggplant itself without the potato. You could use this in a sub, on a veal, on a chicken cutlet. Beautiful, beautiful. Then our last effort just came out of the oven. And I'm going to ever so gently peel. Take the cover over it. Whew. Nice and beautiful and steamy. It's been sitting for a little bit so that it now is kind of all, let's put this away. Oh, this looks lovely.
It smells good.
Mm-hmm. So you could cut this up like you would a lasagna. And I'm gonna serve a piece on a dish so you could see how beautiful it come out. And again, you can go as thick. I went 3 layers. If you want to do a full lasagna like this, you probably could use 4 eggplant. I used 3. Look. Look at the layers, so beautiful. That is scrumptious perfection. So I was just so happy that I could share this, a little bit of education on eggplant. For those of you who love eggplant, you're gonna really enjoy this. For those of you who've never tried eggplant, please be brave. It's just a lovely vegetable to work with. It's available at most groceries. In the fall when it's going to be a little bit more cost effective. Again, another thing that I do with eggplants is a pickled eggplant. That might have to be another show, and we'll show you how to do that up. But I hope you enjoyed what I bring from my kitchen to your kitchens. I hope you use this as a working tool, and I'll do my best to get whatever notes I can out about the quantities. But remember, I always measure with my heart. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.